Welcome back to Lockdown Workshop. Thursday evening. I'm going to try and rattle out some jobs so I can clear off some of this stuff. Workshop's in a bit of a tip. We had a couple of emergency ones. I did another little frog bike, but I didn't video it. It was a 2-second job. It just needed the brake cable adjusting, and quite weirdly, exactly the same as the other frog. It's got these stupid nylon covers on the cables, and one of them had actually slipped off. So I've come to the conclusion they're a really silly idea, and you can't clip the cables in properly. So what have we got tonight? I'm going to take the Tango down, the on one, off the stand, because I've got the other bike that was supposed to come with the Sky Frog. It's another Liv. It's actually the sister of the other Liv. So we'll just have a quick look at this one, just wants to check over. I don't even know if there's anything wrong with it, to be honest, so it might not be an issue. So we'll key to quick M check, check the brakes, check the gears, see if it needs anything servicing. I could squirt some red grease all over it as well to make it look like I've done some work on it, but to be honest, if it doesn't need anything doing to it, don't do anything to it. Oh, they're nice wheels. Cool. Right, I'll drop you in the stand, and first things first, I'll have to tidy up the workshop because you can see it's a bit of a pigsty. So all that was nicely laid out, ready for assembly, and then a couple of other jobs have come along. And I rebuilt the things, which are holding pressure, you'll be pleased to hear. So I've just I haven't tested the pressure, we'll do that later, but there's no sag on them. You can't compress it, so I'm quite happy with that they're okay. So you'll have seen in the last video, I was doing the reassembly, and we had a few issues, shall we say. But they're all back together now. Issues we wouldn't have had if I'd have read the manual. I do need to see if I can resurrect that as a spare cap for next time, because I did buy one of them for £6. But if I can't find a way of getting that in there, it's not exactly going to be £6 well spent, really, is it? So I think we'll see if we can put a socket on there and push it through on with another socket on there. I don't want to pull that seal out. It was a bit of a thing, and they're the old ones, and you can see they're well worn. They're so worn down you can't even see one of them's got 6 lines on it. It's worn the lines off. So or it had the wrong size one in, and it should have been a 6 and it wasn't. It was a 3, but I suspect the lines have just got worn off. Anyway, yibba. Let's get you back in the tripod. Are we back with us? Right, bit tidy now. Right, basic M check. So, I've said this before, it follows the shape of an M. You start with the front wheel, that's the bottom bit there, so you check in that. Guys could do with a bit. That shouldn't really be there. Does it look like we've got both springs? Tell you what, let's have a look. It seems we've had a few recently that haven't had any springs in them. Well, the springs have been on the wrong way round. That's interesting. Well, it's the new Ultigas. Yep, they look fine. Loads of schools of thought where you should put your clips. General rule of thumb is make sure it doesn't get stuck in anything. It's not likely to get knocked from the front if you clip somebody's wheel from the front, so ideally you want them facing backwards on the front end, and you want them facing anywhere really on the back. It doesn't matter, ideally tucked underneath the other frame. The reason I'm facing forwards is if you cross the wheel and you run into the back of somebody, it's likely to flick it off. You're less likely to get it from that side. Don't put them up against the side of there because you can't get your fingers behind them. Right, so check the headset bearings now, well, the wheel bearings as well. Wheel bearings sound fine. They should do. It's a fairly new bike. No play in there at all. Put the quick release back on. Brakes are fine. Reasonably centred as well. Quite tight. Could probably do with slackening off, but that's the rider's preference. What I'm on about and what I'm looking for now is if there's any head flex. Doesn't feel like it actually. It's one of the few bikes that hasn't. The other one, the other Liv, did have some head flex, and it also showed signs of rubbing under there too. But this one doesn't appear to be, so that's fine. I don't know why the other one was slightly different. Never too sure about this with the whole having the handlebars lower. Don't know how I feel about that, but it's a rider's preference again. I always prefer to keep the bars higher. Yep, they're fine. Brakes feel good front and back, but we're not on the back yet. There is a little bit of dragginess there, but it's fine. It's the way they're made. It's carbon anyway, so it'll rub on rub, so it won't wear down. Bottom bracket feels okay. No feel of play. No sign of any teeth missing. It's one of the new Ultra 8000s. You can tell the thicker. It's not got the power meter on like the other one did. The other one had a power meter. That was a bit posh, that one. And that's fine. We'll check the gears when it's up on the ramp. We don't do the gears in the M check. That's fine. Quite flexible, those wheels. So this is one of those examples. You might feel like it's knocking. It's not. What you're doing is you're banging the rim against the brake blocks. That's fine. Back brake was fine. Bit more play in that one. Nice and smooth. No problems there at all. Another extra small frame. Just check the pedals as well. Oh, that's interesting. Look, pedals without some playing. That's okay. They're nice then. They look a slightly different design to the ones some of the ones I've had that have had awful playing them and they've been brand new. Right then, let's get it up on the stand. Ooh, look at that. We can actually put it where we're supposed to. Go that way or that way. I'll have it that way. It's not very often you have actually enough seat posts to clamp it where you're supposed to clamp it, because you're supposed to clamp these on the seat posts. Because if you clamp them on the bar and you've got external cables, it grabs the cables, as you saw on the last one we did in here. But that leaves you free to work, and the bike balances better because a lot of the weight's at the back, so the balance point is towards the middle of the frame there anyway, so that's fine. Just give the wheels one more chance to spin while they're not under any weight. That's fine. What gear are we in there? I'm assuming it's an 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That can't be right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11. Can't count. That's okay. Right, so we're in the bottom gear there. Let's just see what they go up like. Oh, a little bit sluggish. One behind again. Let's jump now. Okay, still one behind. Still one behind. We'll go eventually. There we go. Yeah. Tend to find that the top of the rings are a little bit more picky-uppy. There's a bit more to catch. And also we're in the lower ring as well, so it hasn't got to pull it as far out. Looks like a dual race chain that actually, unless the Ultigras are for the 8000 Right, so what I'm doing there is you can hear it snagging. So what I did was I just put some tension on the front lever just to push it a bit further across, and it's taken up the spare. So what that's telling me is basically I've got to take a bit of slack out of the cable. So because I can never remember which way round these go, whether they're Jaguars or I shall stand back here and watch it. So what I'm looking for, well actually you can have a look as well. So what I'm looking for, pay attention, stand up straight. Right, it's pretty straight down the line of the gum there. Right. So what I'm looking for is that the guide pulley wheel there, which is the one at the top, the centre of that is level with the outside edge of the tooth. Now it's quite difficult to do that because the chain's on it, which is why you normally do this with the chain off. So ideally what you do is you set that exactly with this slack, so there's nothing on there at all. Right, that's not there, the chain's not there, and you can see exactly where it is, and there's a tolerance on it. If you look on the website, it'll tell you what plus or minus how many thousandth of an inch or points of a millimetre it is. But you can eye it in. Then you connect your thing up. The idea is you take the slack out of the cable just to the point where it's just the slacks out, and then when you knock it up, it should be perfect then. So all we've got to do here is just take a bit more slack out. There's not enough. Now I don't know which way these go, so I'm going to watch this one, because I think that it's too far across, and it does look like it's too far across. It does look like it's too far. The guide jockey wheel is too far that way. So what you're doing is you're only moving increments of a notch. I can't tell if that's moving because it's moving such little bits. Oh, that's better. That's definitely moving. I could feel it and see it. Right, so that's moved it on 3 notches. That might be one too many notches. I normally only do 2, but I'm eyeing it in, and it looks about right now. So let's just check you're not going to get your head caved in, and you can watch from there. The other way to do it is when you're in the middle gears, as soon as you take the slack, pick up the slack on the mechanism, it should just start to tick. Yeah, that's a lot more crisp now. Could possibly even go with doing up another one. Yeah, that's straight up this time. There's no, if you remember last time it wasn't going up at all, or if it did, it was after several rotations. Right, so normally when it's there, if you just start to put a bit of pressure on, right, that could do with another notch. I think we were turning it that way, weren't we? So we'll try that again. Still a bit sluggish, but bottom gears are always difficult. Top gears are a lot easier to pick up on. I see now that might be going over now. Yeah, that's over. See, when you look at this side, you can see it's over, so we need to turn it back. That's the one I've just put on, one before. We'll take another one off. So it was 2, it wasn't 3. I said I normally only do 2. Maybe knock another one off. No, that's fine. Just check it on the big one now. We haven't checked the big one actually. Drop it down because we shouldn't be. Right, there you go. That's why it's not actually going up. It's too tight. Now then, I can't remember what these have. Do these have Allen keys? I bet they do, don't they? Because everything's on Allen keys now. Yeah, let's play the high-low game. See, gone are the days where they used to actually say high and low on them. Oh, they do. No, they do. No. So it's high, so that's the easiest one. So that must be that one. And we're going to need to slacken some of that off because it's not going far enough. That's better. Ah, amazing. Let's just knock that off now. Perfect. So as a combination, I've turned it back round to where I had it originally. That's probably spot on now. The adjuster was too far across, so that looks like that's fixed that. I thought there was some weird way of catching these in some kind of special clasp, but it doesn't appear to. Oh, it's possibly missing. So the clasp is missing. They have a fun little cover on like that one, and it's supposed to pin that round, but it appears to be missing on this one. Well, that's no great loss. As long as it's not in the thing, we'll just keep it well out of there. So just move that out of the way. So it normally would have a plastic cover that pins them in. They seem to be. That seems to be flavour of the month with these with the new Ultegras. But that's spot on now. That's going lovely. So we'll just knock it down, knock it off that one. That goes down nicely. That is set up perfect as well. So when it's down, it should be just level with the centre of the teeth. So the edge of that is level with the centre of the teeth. So that's actually perfect. You don't often find them set up properly because people fiddle with them to make the gears sound right, but don't realise it's another adjustment they've not done. So that's fine. The half trim works as well. So perfect. Yeah, we've got the right amount of clearance there. We've got the right amount of clearance there. So gears are perfect on this one now. Do you know what? I don't even think I need to clean it, but hold on, let me have a look. Smells a bit fusty. Another one running tubeless as well. Seems to be, they do seem to be catching on now. Tubeless ready. So these are running tubeless. Quite impressed with the number of people who are actually adopting tubeless. I wonder if they actually realise they're running tubeless. I will have to ask soon. front wheel tubeless and all. There you go. You can run lower pressures, so you're less risking a pinch flat. But road bike wise, honest to God, I've never had a pinch flat on a road bike, but I generally ride at the higher end of the pressures because the bikes go faster. So the flatter your tyres are, the slower you go. So the idea is you have your tyres pumped up, you have a 23 seats, nice and thin, nice high pressure, and off you go. Whereas these are 25s, which are generally to slightly lower pressure anyway. So I guess your argument is you run your 25s, which are more susceptible to a pinch flat at your normal operating pressure and avoid it. But to be honest, I'd have a 23C in anyway because they're faster. But then that's an argument point as well. But all I can tell you is what I notice. Where if I go out one day on the 25s and then the next day, same temperature, same pressure, I will be faster, even though it's the day after. And in theory, I should be tighter. It's 1 to 2 miles an hour faster, average speed. So, and it feels faster. You can't argue what it feels like. So that's my personal view. And I used to ride 21s back in the day as tubs, and they were really fast, and you knew as soon as you went from a 25 onto a 21 you were like lightning. So anyway, what I'll do is I'll give the chain a little bit of a fettle. To be honest, it doesn't look like it needs it. It's like brand new, this bike. Other than that, that's fine. Nothing to do on it. Perfect. They are nice bikes, these. So in case you don't know, these are made by Giant. That's a UCI frame as well. Oh, so that's quite good. So this, what Giant have done is that they've got a brand just for ladies, and it's supposed to have a sympathetic ladies geometry. But I'll be honest, there's not that much difference. I mean, I've got a ladies the Holsworth frame over there was from the ladies Tour de France team, and it's got the same geometry as the male bike. It's exactly the same because they are the same frame. So I don't know. I guess you pick your frame and the geometry you like, and I like the geometry of that bike, and it happens to be the same for male and female anyway. So there isn't a male and female version. I just know that came from that bike was designated to one of the female riders. She never actually rode it. Anyway, that was an early bath for this one. I don't think there's anything else to check. We'll stick you in I'll leave you in the stand for me cleaning it, and I'll give it a quick wipe down and whatnot, and on the chain just to get the muck off there. But I think other than that, we are pretty good. Get me gunk bath. I have got a new gunk bath. You might have seen this because I'm sick of breaking the other one. The other one's held together with bits of string. God, you can see how much muck came off. This one's quite cool. It's actually got a magnet in the bottom to catch any bits of metal that are in the oil. So that's quite good. And you can see it has collected quite a bit of muck, and I've only cleaned one chain in it. But as normal, I tip the thing on its side. I repeatedly put it down on this metal thing and then lift it up and wonder why the magnet's stuck to it. Because there is a piece of metal in the bottom there, and it locks onto it, but obviously that's a bit more substantial. Do you know what I was going to... Oh, stuff fits to it anyway. Right, so we'll put some... The only thing, it's very difficult to see the fill mark, so I just fill it there, basically. Get me... turn around. There's probably more on the floor than I am in there. That's why you need to read the fill line. I couldn't retip any more on the floor. Right. Let's assume we've still got any. What a waste of gunk. No, we've still got some in there. It's the wheels, the little fairy wheels are dipping in it, so that's fine. seems to work as well as the other one. I think that's good enough. It should have got any surface muck off and stuff. Now I'm going to put this over here and then I'm going to knock it over. And there's going to be a gunk everywhere and muck everywhere. And the magnet's just stuck to the shelf. What can you do? Right. Get my little squirty bottle out. Just watch me fill the squirty bottle. Yes, Mark, we'll watch you fill the squirty bottle. I'll tip it all over, as per usual. You wouldn't think I did A-level chemistry, would you? Almost finished it. Oh, nearly. I've got another one ready. These are quite good. These came with the muck off, I think, or did they? Yeah, muck off. I had a muck off drive chain. I succumbed and bought muck off, and then it promptly fell to pieces. Not that I'm saying it was a problem with muck off. It could have quite easily been my ham-fisted use of it, but oh, that's not one of mine. We'll just give it a quick go over on here and whatnot, and I'll get the brush in and rag it out a bit, and might as well. I don't know, I don't clean bikes, but this is a good way to get a feel for the mechanical soundness of it all. I'll just after knocking off any big chunks of muck. Yeah, there is some coming off, so it was the right thing to do. I suspect it's had some of that sticky oil on it. That stuff that I love. I'm not going to rant about it. We're not winter anymore. Shouldn't get any more now until next winter. Yeah, that was good enough. Get a clean off now. That's reasonably good. Just one last final check. Put the grinder in. Trouble is with this, they don't work so well on 11 speeds. They work great on. They're good at the top bit, but they tend to snag when you get deep into the cassette. Let's see, we've got it all there. That was me really shitty oily rag. Right, yeah. Just give the chain ring a bit of a wipe down as well, pull anything else off on there that might be on it. Getting all the cleaner off the chain. Just wipe down that as well. To be honest, it's not usually the bottom jockey wheel that's a problem, but this one does seem to be. You see there's quite a bit of that's all just come off the jockey wheel. So the jockey wheel did have a bit of muck in it. In fact, there's a big glob of it floating around in there. We'll see if we can get that out. So I think it has had some of that sticky oil on. There's a nice big booger in there. Can you see that? I think you can see that. It's right there. I think that's gone. Yeah, that's gone. So I'll just do the same thing to the top one. It's slightly harder with the top one because you've got to keep your fingers out the cogs and the rag out the cogs, and it generally doesn't work. It will nearly always grab it somewhere. You just get it going and then it'll snag a cog, or you get your fingers stuck in the chainring. which I can tell you is not pain, which is not a good idea and is very, very painful. It's a bit windy tonight. That's all right. I think get that last bit out. Yeah, that's fine. It's eating me cloth. Oops, don't do that. Have some oil. And about the oil. See, this is why you don't tidy up. Tidied up the oil. No idea where to put it. Should have put it in there. Have I put it under here? It's not on there. Oh, it's here. That needs filling up as well. Is there anything left there? Oops, can you see what I'm doing? So all we're looking for is just getting a few drips on either side of it, and then we'll wang the chain up and down a bit and get it a chance to lube in. There you go. Job is a good one. Right, trying something new. I'm recording on the phone directly off the camera, I think, for the so I can upload it for the shorts. So, quick customer video. Just re-indexed the gears. Wasn't much. I just needed a couple of tweaks. Cleaned off the chain. Everything's good. Everything's back in line where it should be. Just needed adjusting slightly across that way because it couldn't go far enough, and a bit more tension taken out of the thing, and it was all good. The only thing we haven't done, which I'm pretty sure I won't need to do, looking at the state of the chain, but just for completeness, so you know I've done it, is yep, it's not even tickled the chain. So bike's fine, nothing wrong with it in the slightest. Job's a good one.